One important idea in GIS is the difference between what we want to represent from the real world as objects and what we want to represent from the real world as fields. One easy way to think about it is that objects would have well-defined edges. So in other words, we could easily see where the end of an object is. Some examples of objects would be buildings, and you can imagine viewing that from the air and just seeing the outline of the building, or lakes, viewing those in a similar manner. Fields, however, are ones that continuously vary over space. So some examples of fields might be temperature. As you travel around or up into the mountains, the temperature might get colder. And this would be a nice smooth variation where you can't really say at this particular point it got cold or it got warm. Another example would be elevation. With elevation, we can't really say where a mountain begins or ends. We can't really put a very sharp line around that mountain, but we can say that we get higher and higher until we're in the mountains. So at any particular point, as you move 10 feet in any direction, something like elevation can change, and we account for those changes by representing it as something called a field. Here's an example of an object. This would be a building. As you can see, as you can imagine, if we looked at this from the top, we'd probably be able to put in a pretty good outline of where the edge of the building is, but there might be some issues. For example, there's a little bit of an overhang here, and if we're looking at it from above, we'd probably be mapping this edge of the building, but if we were walking around it, we might be mapping that inner edge of the building. So even though we say that objects are well defined, it does depend on how you define it. And here's an example of a field. So this shows how elevation is changing by these different colors here. And we can see that the elevation is changing from the lowest elevations on this map in this area near Flathead Lake in Montana here. And then getting up into the Rocky Mountains, we're getting into the highest elevations in this reddish area over here. But once again, it would be hard exactly to put a line around where exactly the edge of these mountains are. Because it's a continuum or something that changes subtly until we get up into the mountains, and any 2 points next to each other are going to have different values of elevation. So instead of representing the mountains as an object, we represent all of the elevations across this entire area as a field.